Hey everyone, what's up? Yeah, you know, one of the positive things that I will say about TNA being on Pop TV and even on the previous channel providers like Destination America and Spike was that at least you could see them on demand. Yeah, basically, if you missed it, you can see them on demand. That's one thing WWE does not do. Well, they sort of do through Hulu, but it's more of a edited down version of Monday Night Raw, which I think a lot of fans would prefer more so than 3 hours. I'm surprised WWE doesn't take a look at the viewership they give the Hulu watches that compared to the ratings. Anyway, so one benefit about, like I said, about this, and this is the same with Lucha Underground, is you can actually watch this stuff on demand when you want to and kind of catch up with what's going on in the company. So, I don't know what that noise was. Uh, so anyway, I was skimming through Impact because apparently Impact made some headlines last night, or 2 nights ago actually. Now it's the 16th, so it made some headlines on the 14th, 48 hours after Slammiversary, which is essentially their WrestleMania or their SummerSlam, if you will, seeing as though it takes place in summertime. Um, and apparently they had some technical difficulties to the point that they had to encore uh, Impact tonight on television at various times depending on the time zone. So in other words, 9 Eastern in other words, it's 6 o'clock. We got it here on the West Coast. 9 Eastern. They got it on the East Coast. 8 Central. 7 Mountain. You get the idea. Anyway, anyway, decided to skim through it because I heard a lot of things. I read the spoilers. I don't know why they call it spoilers. It was live. I guess it's spoilers because not a lot of people, I understand, got to see it because of the technical difficulties. But the point is, I saw it finally. I kind of skimmed through it. I thought some of the matches they had were okay. I mean, I do like the fact that DK is the world champion, the world tag team champions. I say that because it's not because I say that not because I met Abyss in person, and believe me, from experience, this guy is big, 6'8". Television don't do him justice. Believe me. Anyway, I I like what they're doing with Decay here. I like the fact that with Abyss, he's no longer just relying on on the mask anymore. He's now just all face paint and everything, very similar to what they did with Crazy Steve and Rosemary. I like what they're doing here, and that's a positive thing. I like the fact that they put the titles on a very hardcore like tag team that you have no idea where they're coming from. You don't know what they're capable of. I like that. I like that scenario. And some might think, oh, that's just a ripoff of the Wyatt family. This ain't no Wyatt family ripoff. Oh no. This is uh, this is probably one of the positive things for TNA right now is the DK factions, the DK group. I like it, and I like the fact that they're teasing. They're gonna hopefully try to grow the group even more so. So that's good to see. Uh, that's a positive. Another positive that I saw come out of this is, and I know some people might be judgmental on it, is the whole Dixie Carter, Maria Kanellis, Mike Bennett, Billy Corgan situation. Now, I already know some people are fearing, and we may find this out in the next taping or so, of a Billy Corgan heel turn. Now, if TNA does go in that direction, they could bring real life into it. That's what a lot of wrestling companies, mostly WWE at times, have been doing. They've been bringing in real life situations into the storyline, sort of doing work shoot storylines to coincide with that. Anyway, Um, like I said, I know a lot of people are kind of like, some people are already voicing. I mean, I read the review at ProWrestling.net for Impact, and the guy said basically, and the guy that did the review basically said that it wouldn't make any sense. He doesn't. Billy Corgan doesn't get that much of a reaction right now. What kind of reaction is he gonna? What kind of reaction will he get if he turns heel? What? He turns heel, they get mainstream media attention. Just saying. Um, but yeah, apparently, that's what some people are afraid of. And again, the thing they can do with this, like I said, if they want to bring real life into it, is in sort of a worked shoot style storyline, is they can have Billy bring up the fact that the reason Slammiversary came off the way it did was because of him becoming minority owner. That yes, he may not have as much power as Dixie, who's a majority owner and the president of the company, but because of him coming into TNA and thus being sort of minority ship of the company, that's the reason Slammiversary was able to get off the ground. So if they wanted to do a heel turn with Billy Corgan and weave in a little bit of real life situations, then they could do that. That they can go with that with the storyline. Dixie Carter and Maria, I like this because Dixie's not going to get in the ring. She's 50 years old. Yes, she could take a bump if necessary. We all know that the last time she did kind of suffer a legitimate injury when she went through the table, courtesy of Bubba Ray, who was Bully Ray at the time. So, one could understand that she can take a bump, but I honestly don't see them building to Dixie Carter getting in the ring and fighting Maria. According to a spoiler for next week's show, she's being written out of the storylines due to a lawsuit put down on TNA by Maria and Bennett. So we'll see what happens there. To me, she's still going to be part of the storylines, just not on an on-camera capacity. And I could see her doing something involving Gail Kim, because we were supposed to get the match between Maria and Gail at Slammiversary, but because of Maria's hand injury, we never did. So I could see them building towards Gail Kim and Maria at Bound for Glory, maybe even sooner than that, but I would say more so at Bound for Glory. And I could see it being a match that would be a first, I think, for TNA. And what I mean by first is I could see it being a match of TNA, because even though TNA is not getting that many viewerships numbers, if you will, ratings, mostly I think because, as I said, they're on the people can watch them on demand. The next night, or basically at midnight, they could, basically at midnight, they could start watching the recent episode on demand. I think the reason, but again, like I said, to me, it would be a first. If they're building towards Gail and Maria finally going at it at Bound for Glory, I could see it being a first sort of for TNA, where it won't be a championship. A championship won't be on the line, but more so, Gail Kim's Hall of Fame induction or place in the Hall of Fame will be on the line. That's right. Because you notice one of the things that Maria is constantly bringing up when you read the spoilers or you actually watch the show live, live or as it airs or on demand, that one of the things Maria is bringing up is Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame. She mentioned it. She brought it up when it was announced that she was going to face Gail at Slammiversary, but it never happened. She brought it up tonight. or last 2 nights ago. So to me, what I see happening here, like I said, it could be a first for TNA, is if they're gonna build towards Maria and Gail at Bound for Glory, that I think that match has to take place right at the beginning or second to first, one of the first few matches of the evening before they officially induct Gail into the Hall of Fame. I think that's what they need to do. And the reason I say that is because it's going to make you question as you get closer to Slammiversary, not Slammiversary, but to Bound for Glory. It's going to make fans of the product, of TNA, and maybe of wrestling in general, question storyline wise, work shoot wise, whatever. Is it going to be Gail that gets celebrated? Is it Gail's career in this company that gets celebrated at Bound for Glory as she's inducted into Hall of Fame? Or will it be Maria? You see, what I see happen, what I'm saying is, I think at Bound for Glory, we are going to get Gail, Kim, and Maria one-on-one, but it's going to be for Gail's position in the Hall of Fame, for her induction into the Hall of Fame. I can see them building a storyline to where that leads to this match to where if Maria beats Gail, then instead of Gail being inducted that night, later that night at Bound for Glory, it's Maria. So I could see them building to that. And that's obviously what it looks like they're building towards. It obviously looks like what they're building towards. But also what it looks like they're building towards to me as well, as far as Maria's character is concerned, is they're building her up, I guess you could say, or portraying her, building her up as a what did they what was the saying? What was the adjective or the acknowledgement that they gave the bomber in the movie Speed? Crazy, not stupid. That's it. Basically, what it looks like to me is they're building Maria up to be this almost delusional, crazy like girl, but who is smarter than what she's acting like. In other words, excuse me there. In other words, she's being built up as delusional, but she's very smart. In other words, she may act like she's crazy or act like she's living in a fantasy world, but there's actually a plan. She actually has some kind of a plan in the works. So, to me, that's a positive right there, along with DK being the World Tag Team Champions. The positive being the whole Maria Dixie Carter power trip feud that might result throughout this going into Bound for Glory, if not sooner, with a Billy Corgan heel turn, which again is going to probably build up to a Gail Kim Maria match at Bound for Glory, which I believe is going to have the stipulation that if Gail Kim loses, then instead of Gail being inducted later that night into the Hall of Fame, it's going to be Maria that gets inducted in her place. Now, you might say, well, what would happen if Maria loses? And I was thinking about this, I was watching that segment. I think, in my honest opinion, that what they should do is give Maria, from a storyline perspective, two choices. She can either still associate with the Knockouts division by finally competing in the ring more so than she ever has without her husband at ringside, or she can disassociate herself from the Knockouts division. Easy for me to say, but disassociate herself from the Knockouts division by basically just accompanying her husband to ringside, and that's all she does. Just continuously accompany him to ringside, be at ringside during his matches, and that's it. That's all she does. So So I think honestly, that's that. I think that should be the stipulation for Maria if she loses. She either stays in the knockouts division and competes like everybody else, or or she leaves the knockouts division and just continuously accompanies Mike Bennett to ringside, and that's it. I know it sounds like I dragged on about that, but actually, I'll be honest with you. I actually got a kick out of this segment, and I think, like I said, with DK being the World Tag Team Champions, I think this is one of the strong positives for TNA. I know a lot of people don't like these power struggle storylines between authorities and the superstars and all that, but this one's actually pretty good because you have someone that thinks that you have basically someone being, you finally have a character on screen against an authority that's so delusional and thinking they should have everything handed to them on a silver platter because she believes she or they think they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm just saying. Now, there are negatives, don't get me wrong. Negative, probably the biggest negative is the technical difficulties. I don't know what happened on TNA's part or Pop TV's part, but that wasn't good for them, especially coming off not their WrestleMania, but their SummerSlam, if you will, which was Slammiversary. That's not a good thing. You know, when you constantly air, what was it Don Tony said? You constantly air almost 2 hours or an hour's worth of that 70s show, repeating the same thing over and over again. That's not a good sign. So I don't know if it was Pop or TNA, but that's not a good sign. That's a negative that they need to avoid going into next week. Maybe they need to not do any more live, post pay-per-view live events or whatever, or do live events every few weeks or everything. You know, maybe they need to stop doing that. I mean, I know that tonight or last night they taped next Tuesdays. I know that Thursday, today or tonight, they're gonna tape the 28th edition, June 28th edition of Impact. And I know that they're going to be doing maybe the July 4th or 5th edition. So that's all going to be good leading into at the end of this week. So that's okay. And I know that eventually after they do a full week's worth, we're probably going to end up getting another live one, probably around, I would say we're probably going to get another live one. If I can see here. Probably get another live one on the 12th, is what I can assume. We'll probably get another live one on the 12th. So the negative is, the big negative to me is them. Again, to me, that big negative to me was for them was losing not losing, but having those technical difficulties. Again, I don't know if it was on their end or Pop's TV's end. I don't know what, but I think they need to start relying more on the tapings than ever before, because I don't think if they do a live broadcast around July 5th or 12th that they need to go through that again. So if I'm them, I would definitely say stick to the tapings so that at least you have them in the can, you have them ready to go, and there shouldn't be no technical difficulties. Because if there is, then it's on Pop TV's part. If it's not, then we'll just see what happens. Another negative to me, I like the Hardy Boys. I like Matt and Jeff. I've seen both in person. But honestly, I just don't like this whole feud they got going on in TNA. I really don't. Be honest with you, the feud they had, which culminated in a match at WrestleMania, 25, I believe? In a match at WrestleMania 25, and then the following month at Extreme Rules, I think was the best match, was better than what they're doing here. Now you might say, well, here in TNA they can do a lot more because they don't have to worry about a PG rating and it's TV 14 and they can go and do things that WWE wouldn't let them do. And that might be true, but to me, I just don't really like this. I really don't. I mean, the matches are good. The matches are probably good. Don't get me wrong. But the negative I don't like about this is, I think someone said it best when they reviewed it. It's got a Dungeon of Doom-esque like feel. It really does. It's got a Dungeon of Doom-esque like feel, and my honest opinion is, if they're building towards another match at Bound for Glory, I mean, I know they got a Six Sides of Steel match on the next week's show, and if that's not the end, and they're building towards something at Victory Road, which you know you're going to get a Victory Road, especially with the 4th of July coming around, or they're building towards something at Bound for Glory, then we all know one of a few things are going to happen. One, I should say, Matt's is going to be restored storyline wise back to normal. He's going to be cured of his craziness. 2, the major factor in Matt acting the way he is, or acting the way he was before, Rebby Sky, you pretty much know she's done in the company. You pretty much know Rebby Sky is probably going to be leaving soon. Or storyline wise, it's not going to be associated with Matt anymore. So, anyway, to me, the matches might be good. Sometimes the fighting, on-screen fighting and everything might be good, but just the way it's being portrayed doesn't make the Hardy Boys look good. I mean, I can understand maybe this is something they wanted to do in WWE when they feuded there, but WWE wouldn't let them. But to me, it just doesn't come off well, and hopefully maybe Six Sides of Steel will end it, and if not, maybe it'll end and sooner than we hope, sooner than we think. Maybe with a match at that Victory Road, because again, like I said, you pretty much know they're heading in that direction. And if not that, then I don't know what. So hopefully either Six Sides of Steel ends it, or Victory Road, if they do it there, if there's a Victory Road, which I think there will be for the 4th of July kind of deal. Hopefully they do it then. Because if they keep building this towards Bound for Glory, then they've got to give us a huge payoff there. Because I don't think, honestly, even fans of Matt and Jeff can sit through another 3 months, if you will, of this whole Hardy Boys feud. Unless, like I said, the payoff is having Matt, again, storyline-wise, being cured of his craziness, and the major influence of that, Rebby Sky, being removed from Impact Wrestling. So maybe that's it. I don't know, but to me, it's just not a good sign for TNA when they do this. So that's a negative there. Again, like I said, that's a negative there as far as TNA goes. I mean, what happened to them with the technical difficulties was a negative. The whole Hardy Boy feud right now, as good as the matches might be, is a negative. To me, I think another negative to me, honestly, is another negative. How do I put this? Another negative to me is the whole Hall of Fame. I mean, I'm happy Gail Kim's going in. She deserves it. She's done a lot for TNA. Yeah, she left TNA, went back to WWE for a while. went came back. She's done a lot for TNA. So she does deserve this. But the negative for me, as far as TNA is concerned, when it comes to the Hall of Fame, is you have some, I guess you could say, deserving people. You have Gail Kim now. Last year you had Jeff Jarrett and Earl Hebner. You have Team 3D, you have Sting, you have Kurt Angle. You know, I was surprised they didn't put Hulk Hogan in. uh, but honestly, again, honestly, I'm surprised they didn't put Hulk Hogan in. But um, to me, though, when I look at the Hall of Fame, it pales in comparison. I mean, basically, the TNA Hall of Fame, when one thinks about it, uh, it's kind of just like, how do I put this? It's kind of like the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, the Cauliflower Hall of Fame, if you will. Nothing against those; those are great Hall of Fames. Everybody's deserving going in, but but what's funny is what's funny about this is why don't why doesn't TNA just merge this with the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame? I mean, we know the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. Let's see, where is it? Pro Wrestling. Here it is. Why don't they merge this with the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame? I mean, it's still going to this day. Let me check it. What? Why not uh, merge it with that? I mean, when do they induct people here? Let me check. I don't really know when they induct. Honestly, um, but I think they should coincide with the Hall of Fame, with the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, or at least some kind of Hall of Fame. You got the St. Louis one, you got the NWA one. Hey, you've had a history of, with the NWA. Why not associate yourself with that? Why not associate yourself with that? I mean, according to this, it's held during a wrestling event, so why not associate with the NWA? I'm just saying, because it makes it gives to me more of a bigger feel, if you will. It gives more of a bigger feel if you associate it with another Hall of Fame, and it helps both Hall of Fames. So to me, when I look at the TNA Hall of Fame, and again, nothing against it, it's a great Hall of Fame to have. It is. It really is a great Hall of Fame to have, especially for TNA. And I know some people. I know some people may say, well, it's only got what, seven. It's only got seven total inductees, if you will. It's only got like seven people inducted. You know, you know, why have that? You know what I'm saying? You know, and again, you have so many different Hall of Fames out there that you could associate it with one. Or if you're TNA and you're working with Universal to do the Impact Zone, or if you got this new warehouse studio in Nashville, you need to use one of those locations uh, to, in my opinion, to really solidify, legitimize your Hall of Fame. You really need to do that. I mean, WWE's got this possibility of the Hall of Fame happening, a physical Hall of Fame happening at Universal Studios Orlando of all places, and which will be great. But to me, if I'm WWE, but if I'm TNA, then what I do, honestly, is I take the location I now have, which is this warehouse, this studio, whatever, and if I have enough space in it, I use one location of that office space I now have, and I dedicate that one area to the Hall of Fame. I put the pictures of all my Hall of Famers in that area. So, to me, I believe that if to me, the biggest negative I look at is, and it's a negative that has positiveness to it, but it's a negative that doesn't feel so legitimized. I mean, especially with the fact that when I saw Team 3D get inducted, the Dudley Boys, if you will, get inducted, what did they get? They got gold wristwatches. That's it. Didn't they, get a ring or something? I mean, you know, they got gold wristwatches, plaques. I mean, yeah, WWE did a plaque and everything, and that's great. They started with plaques and everything, but they finally got to the point to where they gave their Hall of Famers rings, legitimized rings, made them feel important, made them basically legitimized. It was basically legitimized for them, and it's kind of like when a pro football player and a pro basketball player and a baseball player get their Hall of Fame rings when they go into the Hall of Fame. I mean, I know TNA financially is not doing so well at times, but I think honestly, the Hall of Fame, from a cheaper, more affordable route, could benefit just by having one section of the new studio's warehouse, if you will, dedicated to it, with just like pictures or engraved plaques of people's names. Kind of like what they do with the Baseball Hall of Fame. You go in the Baseball Hall of Fame and you see these engraved plaques with the player's face on it and their name. I'm sure TNA can afford to do that for a Hall of Fame section in the warehouse area. So, to me, the biggest negative for TNA is the Hall of Fame. I mean, the positiveness is those that deserve to go in, but the negative is it's pales in comparison to a lot of Hall of Fames, a lot of other wrestling Hall of Fames. I hate to say that. I really do. I really do. What else I was going to say? Okay, I do have two more positives that can help outweigh those negatives. I talked about DK being the world tag team champions. I like the fact that TNA is sort of rebuilding the divisions that put them on the map. The tag team division definitely looks like it's getting a definite facelift in a sense. I like the fact that the tag team division's kind of getting some life breathed back into it. Davey Richards, when he comes back, you're going to have the Wolves back in that hunt as well. with the Bromans, with Grado and Muhammad Rashid, or whatever his name is, the Tribunal, and now and of course, like I said, with Decay and whoever else they bring in, and especially with the recent WWE releases. Um, I definitely see the tag team division is definitely on. It's on the it's on the rise. It's definitely getting a sort of a soft reboot, if you will, sort of getting that rebuilding. I mean, basically, it's getting rebuilt into something decent, to where you could have teams feuding with each other and all that. And I think that this year, because I know every year people are going to say TNA's done, they're gone, whatever. I don't think TNA is going to go anywhere. I mean, TNA is going to be around for a while, especially with the people at Pop saying that TNA will be back on the schedule in September. So I definitely see TNA lasting for a while thanks to that. And I see TNA and I see the tag team division, because TNA being around for a while, a lot longer, definitely being on that rebuild process, that resurrection process, if you will. And speaking of resurrections and all that, it seems to me that along with the tag team division sort of getting a facelift, sort of getting rebuilt from the ground up, the knockouts division is getting the same thing. The knockouts division is getting the same thing. Now, I don't know if Angelina Love is going to be back whenever that might be. But right now, it looks like the knockouts division is definitely on the rise again. It's like they're trying to really rebuild this division. And after what I saw tonight, it seems that you've got plenty to work with. You really do. You've got Sienna, who is the new knockouts champion. You've got Gail Kim, Hall of Fame inductee, still active competitor. You've got Madison Rayne. You've got Jade. You've got Raquel. You've got Marty Bell. You've got Rosemary. You've got Rebby Sky. And you got Aaliyah Impact. And you got Maria. So that's 10 knockouts under your roster. That's pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. And Raquel as well. So you got 11 knockouts. You've got Gail Kim, Jade, Raquel, Sienna, Aaliyah Impact, Cherry Bomb, if you will, Marty Bell. I think that's what. Gail, Jade, Raquel, Sienna, Aaliyah Impact, Marty Bell, Rosemary, Rebby Sky, if you will, Madison Rayne, Maria Kanellis, and who else did I mention? I know I mentioned somebody else. Angelina Love. I know possibly. Like I said, you got Jade, you got Gail Kim, Jade, Maria, Raquel, Rosemary, Marty Bell, Madison Rayne, and Aaliyah Impact, Sienna. I know I just said the name. I know I just said it. But again, you've got about 10 to 12, almost 12 women on your roster. Definitely a rebuild, definitely an improvement, if you will, because like I said, Gail Kim. In fact, let me look that up right now. Sorry about that. Let me look at that. Hold on. Sorry about this. Trying to find the roster here. But anyway, you've got Maria, you got Gail Kim, you've got Maria, you've got Jade, you've got Marty Bell, you got Sienna, Aaliyah Impact, there's the one. Raquel, Rosemary, Rebby Sky, Raquel. Oh, if you will. Madison Rain. There we go. So you got 11, and maybe Angelina Love when she ever comes back. Uh, so yeah, you've got a lot. You've got a You've got basically a decent sized knockouts division now. A decent sized knockouts division. Here we go. According to this, you have Aaliyah, Cherry Bomb, Gail Kim, Jade, Madison Rain, Marty Bell, Raquel, Rebel, forgot about her, but she's on maternity leave, Rosemary, Sienna, Maria, Rebby Hardy or Rebby Sky. So you got, like I said, and possibly Angelina Love if she ever comes back. So you got a decent size knockouts division, and to me, is the perfect time for that knockouts division to be resurrected. You know that the reason it's being built this way, it's basically had this resurgence, if you will. That was the word I was looking for as far as the TNA tag team goes. The reason it has this resurgence is due to the fact that WWE's women's division has been resurged, has been reborn. But I'm sure a lot of people, when comparing the two right now, might say that the knockouts are a little bit more fleshed out, a little bit more fuller than what we're getting with the women's division of WWE. But again, that's a major positive for TNA. So the two positives to end this, to outweigh the negatives for TNA, is the fact that their tag team division is getting a resurgence, is back on the rise, and the knockouts division is getting a resurgence, is back on the rise. So, yeah, there are some negatives like the ones I've mentioned, but obviously for TNA, even though the viewership, which is another negative, is not the greatest, the positives right now, I think Paul Heyman said it best, and the ECW documentary, The Rise and Fall of ECW, the positives definitely outweigh the negatives, and the positives definitely hide those negatives. So let's hope TNA gets more positives than they do negatives. So let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. And sorry this went along for almost 45 minutes. I had to get some information. I didn't pause it as much as I should, but hopefully you guys can get a kick out of this. Let me know what you think down below. Comment if you like. Take your time in listening to this, and I'll talk to you all later.